Welcome to The Pulse, where we delve deep into the issues and ideas that are shaping the future of education. I'm your host, Rick Surrency, Superintendent of the Putnam County School District, and each week we'll be talking to teachers, administrators, and other experts in the field about the latest trends, best practices, and most pressing concerns in education. Whether you're a teacher, a parent, or just someone who cares about education, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the pulse. Hi, this is Superintendent Rick Surrency, and welcome to our podcast. I'm the Superintendent of the Putnam County School District, and we're continuing our conversation today with another member of the 2024 class of the Pt.2 Putnam. And I have with me today good friend and colleague Mark Motl, who is actually our union president, by the way, but he's actually here for a different reason, talking about the kind of his story about growing up here in Putnam County and getting his education and coming back and, serving in our school district. And he's actually been, was selected with the Pt.2 Putnam for his community service. And he's going to talk about that today some. Mark, welcome, and glad to have you here. And just take a few minutes and kind of let the audience know a little bit about you from the beginning, and then kind of your path to where you are now. And then I really want to talk about your community service and all the extra stuff you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, so I grew up right here. I was born here in Palatka. If you want to go way back, my mom and Ashley McCool's mom shared a hospital room out at Putnam Community Medical
I heard
Center
about
here.
that.
So she and I have the same birthday. We were, so we Ashley and I go way back, right? But educationally here, my mom taught at E.H. Miller, which was this campus here where the training center is, and I went to Mosley Elementary School right across the street. Yeah. And then went over to Beasley Middle School from there, and then to Palatka High School. Graduated from Palatka High School in 1993, and then went to the University of Florida and got my bachelor's and master's degrees there, and then I went to the University of Arkansas after that. So after University of Arkansas, I was 9/11. Just the events around 9/11 transpired, and industry I was looking in was changing, and so Lindsay and I decided. In the meantime, April of 2001, our first child was born. Nicholas was born, and we decided that we wanted to be closer to family, so that Nicholas could grow up with close by to his grandparents and my his great grandparents too. So we made the decision to move back to Florida, and for a little while there I worked. Do you remember Sykes was out here at the time? Now it's something else out there, but I was doing just some tech support for MSN for a little while, just for a little bit, and then I started subbing at the end of the school year, and kind of the way I got into teaching at Palatka High School. I was subbing all around the county, but I was subbing at Palatka High School, and I remember talking to Karen Hughes, and she said, "Why don't you come on down and talk to us about what you might be certified, what we could talk about, what we might be certified in?" And you were there, I mentioned I got coursework in biology, chemistry, and I think you were the one that said chemistry because I had passed in the hallway, Mr. Henry Jenkins, who was my chemistry teacher at Palatka High School.
Sure did.
And he had just told you, right before I passed him, he had just told you that he was retiring. Yeah. So it's kind of the way I was looking at things. Things happen the way they're supposed to.
Perfect timing.
And I think it's just that's where I was meant to be. And so that's kind of for educationally, as far or for my career here. I really feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. Yeah. And
it's your calling.
Just the things that led me here. My path. I think I wound up where I'm supposed to be.
That's great. That's great. And both you and your wife both work in the district, right?
Yeah, my wife, she started teaching here before she joined me in Arkansas. So she taught here for a year after she finished up at University of Florida. Yeah. So my wife actually, she taught for a year here in Palatka out of Browning Pierce, her first year teaching. And then we got married that summer, and she came up and joined me in Arkansas then. So she taught a couple of years up there while I was in school up there, and then we came back together here. So
what did you get your advanced degree in?
So it's interesting. This is a kind of a funny story, and my students have over the years have kind of really. So my advanced degrees are in poultry nutrition.
And I heard that. I just want to make sure of that.
My bachelor's degree is poultry science and advanced degrees in poultry nutrition. And it was an interesting. I know a lot about chickens and
Yeah.
other poultry, but but what's funny is that the coursework along the way, much of it was comparative stuff. So we'd talk about anatomy and physiology and humans versus avian and all this, and then and biochemistry, the analytical chemistry, the chemistry courses that I took along the way. We're plenty to get certified in chemistry. So.
I remember when we hired you,
Yeah.
I told somebody, I said, the man knows chickens.
Yeah.
I mean, students ought to be right there.
Yeah, that's and a couple of over there's a few students have made fun of me a little bit for it, saying, "So you're a chicken doctor?" Huh? I was like, "No, that's it is what it is." But,
Yeah. Well, we're sure glad to have you in the district, and I haven't actually heard, your path. I know I remember, when you came on, I was at the high school, but I didn't hear all the path personally how you got there. So that is a remarkable story, and of course I know you're very involved in the teachers union, have been for some time.
yes, sir, about 10 or 11 years
Yeah,
now.
yep. And I know you took over. Trying to remember who you took over for.
Sharon Hughes is the president.
Sharon
before me.
Hughes,
Yep,
who was also a teacher at Palatka High.
Yep,
who I
yep.
worked.
She was my English and Latin teacher when I was at Palatka High School, and then was still there when I came back. And great teacher, great mentor too for me.
Yeah, she's a wonderful lady. So, well, Mark, again, congratulations for being selected, and I think it's also very cool that I believe you and your son are going to be. Your son's graduating this year.
Yes.
And you're going to be on the field as part of being recognized as the product of Putnam, and I think that's just such a neat thing. What kind of thoughts are going through your head about that?
It's good timing. I think it's an honor to be a product of Putnam, but it's extra special because it's the year that he's graduating too.
Yeah.
So and I would have been at graduation anyway. Because he's graduating and because my students are graduating.
Sure.
So I don't miss the graduations anyway. I'm always there,
Right.
Helping Mr. Chairs get those teachers out on the field, right? But so and Mr. Chairs actually after the board meeting the other day, he said, well, we've got you down. You'll actually probably get 3 parking passes, one for product of Putnam, one for as a parent of a graduate, and one for a faculty member. So
Yeah, that's very cool.
So
it's always a great occasion at Palatka High. That's probably the biggest event we have every year is graduation. But how neat is that to be recognized there with your son? And I'm just very happy for you. So let's talk about your community service. And I think a lot of that, and you can add in, but I know a lot of that is your time working with Boy Scouts.
Yes, sir.
And all that. So elaborate with that. And I know the audience wants to kind of know that part, how you really have been and are serving the community.
Yeah. It all started with a excited little boy coming home talking about BB guns and bows and arrows and camping, and that's the pitch that's made at the roundups when they go to the schools and do the rallies. You want to go out and shoot BB guns, you want to shoot bows and arrows, you want to go camping, and all the other opportunities that are outdoor opportunities that come with Scouts. And so when Benjamin came home, it wasn't Nicholas, my oldest child, when my middle child, who's graduating this year, when he came home from Browning Pierce and said he wanted to be in Cub Scouts. It's like, oh, well, we'll give it a try. We'll give it a try. And I think I'd actually worked out with my dad that we would kind of alternate weeks taking him and stuff. Because by that point, I think I was already, no, I wasn't already, I was trying to remember if I was already the president of the teachers union. It wasn't quite yet because it's a little before that. But just, wanted to make sure that, it wasn't too much of a time sink at the time. But anyway, so what started as kind of an hour a week, and that's kind of the running joke in Scouts is when we ask somebody to do something or to be a volunteer, it's just an hour a week. And then that kind of
Get them hooked in, right?
That kind of multiplies by the number of kids that you're involved with, like in the pack or the troop or the district or the council. But I started as just a Tiger adult partner. My son was a Tiger, a first grader, and for the first grade Scouts, the adult has to be there with them the whole time because they're like herding cats,
Right.
And so I was there, and the den leader that they had for that den, he stopped coming after a little while. He and his son got, so I kind of took over as the den leader for the Tigers. Then the next year I was the den leader for the Wolves, and the next year I was Cub master for the Pack, and it's kind of kept rolling from there,
Yeah.
And so just gradually increasing, kind of my footprint, I guess you could say, in terms of just the Pack, and now I'm associated with the troop as well. When my son crossed over to the Boy Scout troop, I didn't leave the Pack because we still needed leaders there. So I was then involved with both Pack and troop, Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. And and Benjamin is now, he'll turn 18 on Monday, and I want to put in a little plug for him. He completed his Eagle Scout project yesterday.
That's great.
Made the final touches. It was mostly complete, but he put the final touches on yesterday. And so he has now completed all the requirements for his Eagle Scout
That's
rank.
a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, so he will be aging out on Monday from the Boy Scouts, and so that kind of puts me in another spot of, well, I'm still with the troop, and I don't have any plans to leave the troop. I love what we do. One of the things that's been has helped me reconcile the time that Scouts has taken of my life over the years is that most of it is spent with my family. With Cub Scouts, we're family camping. The family's there with us. With the Boy Scouts, I'm with Benjamin or with Nicholas when he was in Scouts, and with Olivia, my daughter, she's in Cub Scouts now, so I don't have an exit strategy at this point because she's coming up through the ranks and she has every desire to be an Eagle Scout as well.
And actually, if I'm not mistaken, didn't I hear where what used to be the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts are now Scouting of they've renamed it?
Yeah, Boy Scouts of America has just last week or the week before announced that they're changing their name. It's 5 years ago they started allowing girls in the program.
Right.
And so Cub Scouts a year before that, and then at the middle school and high school level they started allowing girls. And so I've seen that as a positive thing.
Oh, I did too.
And
yeah.
they've nationwide in that 5 years we've got 6,000 Eagle Scouts that are girls, 100 and close to 200,000 Scouts that are girls. So I'm excited for my daughter. She's excited because she wants to follow in her brother's footsteps. So we're looking, when she gets to that age to be in a girl troop. But the name change there is to be more reflective of who they are now and include, be more inclusive of
and why not? I mean, girls can do Eagle Scout projects just as well as boys can, if not better. And
we've had a number of girl Eagle Scouts right here in Putnam County. There was a group. Ashley Myers, one of our teachers in the district, she's the scoutmaster for the girl troop that started out in Interlaken. And February 1st, the first day that they allowed the female troops, the girl troops, back in 2019, 12:01, right after midnight, they were camping. And so that troop, they got started immediately, and because they were ready. They'd already had a venture crew, which have been co-ed anyway. They already had a venturing crew going, and so they had some girls that were just raring to go, ready to be in Scouts.
This question I probably ask almost every educator I interview, but you being in Scouts, what do you see as the biggest accomplishment or maybe a story of a Scout or former Scout you've had that has really been successful or something profound has happened? Anybody come to mind over all the years you've been in Scouts?
You'll have to give me a few years to reflect on that for the Scouts that I've kind of mentored up through the program, because most of the Scouts that I've known through the program are just a couple years out now. So they're not, but what I can tell you is that during their time as a Scout, I think what was a very significant event for all of the Scouts that we took, that we had in the troop at the time, Troop 235 and 236 teamed up with the Sheriff's Office, and we took a group of Scouts and Sheriff's deputies out to the Panhandle after the hurricane went through Mexico Beach.
I remember.
And so we initially took a bunch of cleaning supplies and other things that we'd gathered. And then while we were there, we did various projects along with the Samaritan's Purse, was the organization kind of coordinating the efforts there. So we went up to them and said, "What can we do?" And so they put us various places. But that I think that was a very meaningful experience for our youth and for the adults too. But for the youth especially, to see the devastation. You see it on TV; it's not the same.
Sure.
But they're there talking to the people whose homes have been destroyed, and for the next several years after that, I think almost every Eagle Board review that I was a part of, the Scouts, when they were asked what was the most meaningful thing you've done, that kind of came up. So now this year I think we're hearing from some. Our troop went on the Philmont trek last summer, and so I know my son. The hurricane relief was a big thing, but the Philmont trek, kind of
explain that, the Philmont trek.
Yeah, so Philmont is one of BSA's high adventure bases. It's out in New Mexico, and it's the point is to go on a backpacking trek through the New Mexico wilderness. And so we were on the trail for 10 days.
Is that the New Mexico or Mexico?
New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So northeast New Mexico, right outside a little town called Cimarron. But the Philmont Scout Ranch is out there. Wade Phillips donated the property to the Scouts decades and decades ago, and Scouts have been going out there every summer for decades, going on these treks. So a couple years ago, our troop went to Sea Base in the Keys for a high adventure trek, and then when we came back, my son Benjamin was actually like, "Hey, can we try Philmont next?" I was like, "Sell it to the troop. You got to get the participation." So he took it to the troop, and everybody signed on, and we got the crew together. We took 10 people, six youth and 4 adults, and we rode the train. We took the Amtrak, Palatka to DC, Palatka DC Chicago to Raton, New Mexico.
Oh wow, that's
3 days on the train.
Roundabout.
That's the easiest way to get there.
Wow.
So we thought the train would be kind of an adventure on its own, and it was. On the way out, especially on the way back, we're like, we just want to get home. But it was a fun trip. The time out in New Mexico, Philmont is a beautiful, beautiful place. The countryside out there is absolutely wonderful, and just on the trail, it's hard work. We hiked 75 miles with our full packs.
Holy cow!
And our packs were 40 to 50 pounds. The hiking backpacks. Probably another 25 miles without packs, little side hikes or just around base camps and around camp and stuff. So probably a total about 100 miles we hiked in that 10 days.
I'm sure there's got to be a little preparation before that, physical.
There was
preparation.
absolutely. I've before going to Philmont, I was in the best shape of my adult life because I was, training hard to make sure that I met my goal of not being the one to slow down the crew.
There you go.
That was my primary goal. Is like
you had to set an example for the younger guys,
That's right. So we had an amazing trek. Everybody was well prepared, gear wise, physical fitness wise, and we just the things we saw, the experiences we got to have there. It's hard to describe. When I came back, people I get the question from a lot of people. So how was it? And I'm like, how much time do you have? Because it's really tough to give a concise summary of what the Philmont trek was for us, and it was.
And those boys will talk about that forever.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. Yeah.
As we're kind of winding up today, what I'd like to ask of you, and again, you representing community service as part of the product of Putnam, but somebody who is out there who could be whoever. What would be one piece of advice you would give to somebody who's considering, getting involved in the community? It may not be Boy Scouts, but just generically, what might be something that you might advise someone out there?
I think the key to volunteerism is finding something that you are passionate about, and just start by just saying, "What can I do to help?" It can be tough, I guess, maybe sometimes for folks to figure out, well, who do I talk to? But I think we've got food banks all over our community. We have all kinds of people in our community that are helping others, and so if there's something that especially if you've got a skill, skills or just hobbies, but I think that just reaching out, I don't know who really contact, and there's not one central location for here's all the volunteering opportunities, but just talk to people, and there are enough people in this community that know where the volunteers are needed that people can direct you.
And not knowing, I guess one thing they might do is maybe look to get involved with a civic organization. I belong to a couple, and again, they do a lot of projects, and that might be an avenue where they can.
That's an
become
excellent
involved.
point. The Rotary clubs or the
and
the
I'm in Kiwanis, well, Mark, thank you for that advice about community service. And again, if you want to get involved or be a part of any community organization, just do that. But I know that many of our retired people out there are always thinking about how can I contribute. Maybe I have a little extra time. What can I do to really kind of feel like I'm being productive or significant? So, but Mark, thank you for being here, and I'm really amazed by the way that you got involved as a teacher, and then especially your way of kind of accidentally agreeing to be part of the Boy Scouts, and then look at you now.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't take it back, any of it, because kind of looking back on it, the experiences that the youth have gotten to be a part of, but so it's not really selfish, but I've had amazing opportunities because of the volunteering, the leadership I've given to the Scouts too. So just the things I've been able to do, especially with my boys, but with my family.
Well, by giving of yourself, you're really getting a lot in return that you don't realize. So. Mark, thank you for being here.
Rick,
it's a pleasure. I'm honored.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you on our next podcast. Thank you for tuning in today.